Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board meeting for Monday, May 15th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Boyce.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Dole. Here. Crockett.
Here.
Geske.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
We have a quorum. Tonight, before we get started, we have the swearing in of the new trustee, Todd Crockett, who served for a long time already, but he was not available to be here at the last board meeting to get sworn in when the other two newly elected trustees got sworn in. So, Todd, you want to come up and get sworn in for another 4 years?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Todd Crockett,
Having been elected to the office of village trustee
having been elected to the office of village trustee
for the village of Manteno
for the village of Manteno
in the county of Kankakee
in the county of Kankakee
in the state of Illinois,
and the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of village trustee
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to the- Hey, Todd, I need you to sign this.
Before it's over tonight.
Okay.
We have the minutes from our last board meeting that was held on May 1st, 2023. Hopefully everyone's had the opportunity to review them. Are there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, I would accept the motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented by the clerk.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Crockett.
Second.
Second by Martin. Roll call.
Crockett?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Dole? Abstain. Geske?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Public participation, we don't have anyone here. Chris, did you receive anything at all from anyone?
We did not.
Okay. Village President's Report, a couple things. Tonight, at the last board meeting was our first board meeting of the new fiscal year, and I was not able to be here. But usually that's the time, the meeting that we go ahead and make all the appointments for the new coming year. Right after new trustees get elected, we go ahead and renew or appoint people for their positions that they were employed to do. And tonight I want to go through and do that exact same thing. Obviously, that there's no changes, but I still want to go through the list and just so have it in the record of the people that are being appointed for the different appointments. As Village Administrator, Chris LaRock. Budget Officer, Chris LaRock. The Village Attorney, Louis Kankar, LTD. Chief of Police, Alan Swinford. The Village Treasurer, Sheila Martin. Village Chaplain, Father Anthony Nugent, Reverend Lance Hurley. The Animal Commissioner, Alan Swinford. The Code Enforcement Officer, Ryan Marion. The Village Electrician, Eric Weber. On the Planning Commission, we have two people whose terms were up that have agreed to continue to serve on the Planning Commission. That's Emily Fisher Gentry and Dan McGowan. We have two people on the Police Commission for 3-year terms, or one person that term was up that has agreed to serve again, and that's Brian Meyer. On the Police Pension Boards, a 2-year term, we had one person whose term was up, and he's also agreed to serve again, and that's Joe Grant. I'd like to appoint myself to continue to stay the representative for the Kankakee County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Jerry Pierce to continue to represent us on the Metro Board. Also then to myself as the Enterprise Zone representative for the Village of Manteno. And Manteno Fire Inspector, the Fire Inspector would be the Manteno Fire Department Chief. And the GIS Advisory Committee would be Ryan Marion. These are, like I said, all positions that these people have all held previously, and luckily they've all The ones whose terms were up have agreed to continue to serve, and all the other, people have been serving and will continue, hopefully. Is there any discussion on any of the appointments?
I just don't know about the Visitors Bureau guy,
Pardon?
giving you a hard time.
If not, I'd like to get a motion to approve the appointments as presented.
Make that motion.
Motion by Boyce, second by Dole. Roll call.
Boyce?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Crockett?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. The only other announcement they have is I wanted to announce that the jumping pillow at the square and Second is now open as of yesterday. We waited to get, hopefully till the weather would get a little bit better. Obviously, yesterday when it was opened up, the weather wasn't that great. Today's a different story. So it is open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. There is a height restriction of 54 inches from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m., at which time any height can use the pillow after 7 p.m. The pillow may close without notice for inclement weather or the inability to having a ranger present. And there are numerous security cameras that now include sound recordings in addition to the video recording. We've had to increase our security and our recordings there because of incidents that have taken place, time and time again. And while we want to continue to be able to offer this nice amenity to the people, we have to, as we have different incidents take place, impose more rules. Obviously, that was the reason that the 54-inch height restriction went on during the daytime, and that's the purpose of that. And I know we get complaints about it all the time, but we just had too many problems from bigger kids that were on the pillow during the same time that some of the smaller kids were on there. So for everyone's safety, we instituted that. And after we did that last year, and people got a little bit accustomed to it, the problems seemed to go down, not go away, just went down. Also, that we are having a park ranger there every day. The pillow is open during the summer, and the park ranger will be there in the evening hours after 4 o'clock, I believe, was from now until when school is out. We've found that without having a ranger there, that there's too many incidents that take place, and we need to have somebody there to try to continue to, to keep order and have a direct communication with the police department if necessary. Again, we've added cameras and we've added sound to the cameras because there's been a lot of things that have been said at the pillow by people, and when the officers confront people about it, they deny it. This way here we can play it back and see what people really said or what they didn't say. Sometimes video recordings and audio recordings have a tendency to convince people of what they're doing when they don't think that they're doing it. And we just as soon not have to use any of this equipment, but we are going to continue to try to make it a safe place and maintain as much order as possible by implementing more rules and more protections so people can use this amenity in a safe manner. So please, make sure that your kids, when they come, make sure they're supervised, make sure that they understand there's other people that are around there. We are not going to to be able to have an amenity like this if people continue to abuse the right. And the police have been instructed that if people are warned and they continue behavior that's not acceptable, they'll be banned for the day, banned for the week, banned for the rest of the year, depending on the infraction, and potentially arrested if that's necessary and warranted. But that's hopefully the last resort. That's not where we want to go, but we want order on the square. That's the only thing I have. Oh, the other item I have on under new business is ordinance 2301, which is an ordinance amending an ordinance establishing the Kankakee County Enterprise Zone and the boundaries in the village of Manteno as amended. This is an amendment that has been talked about at 3 or 4 committee meetings that I know of, that we've had a lot of discussion about, and we've talked about amending the ordinance to be able to allow some of the benefits for the enterprise zone to work in some residential areas. It's on the consent agenda for a vote later on. Like I say, we've discussed this time and time again for a long, long time. And it's time for us to, put it to a vote to decide which way we want to proceed with that. That's the only things I have. The village administrator's report, Mr. LaRock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
Committee reports, Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one item under consideration, a motion to authorize the purchase of a 2022 tail lift ZFG 30C forklift from Manteno Equipment Trading Company, North Chicago, Illinois, for a cost of $34,000. We looked at a bunch of different forklifts. Jimmy, this is the one you decided to go with, and with the new Public Works building, we're going to need it. So that's all I got.
Do we have a forklift that we're getting rid of?
We do not have a forklift.
Okay, so this is going to be something that's needed in the new facility that we got because we're having racks installed up
Yeah.
there, and you're going to have a lot bigger area to be able to store.
It's going to be a lot handier. We have a skid steer with forks right now. It's gotten us by, but it'd be a lot nicer addition of equipment that we need.
That's all I got. Thank you.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all I
Okay,
got.
I'm
Thank
sorry. Properties and Recreation, Mr. Martin.
No old business, new business, a couple things, consideration for a motion to authorize the contract for Legacy Park Landscaping RFP to Scenic Landscaping for a cost of $43,000. We sent out a RFP to local landscapers for the work to be done around the new concession stand at Legacy Park. We received 3 proposals and designs, and Scenic Landscaping was the low bidder. And because Legacy Park is a joint venture with the village and the township was provided the bid documents, they will be splitting the cost with the village. Jim?
Yep, we provided both, sorry, and your next item there too, but we provided the township with both RFP prices, and they've already approved them, so tonight's the approval to get that one as well.
Good deal. And then,
Trustee Martin, would you verify the cost again?
oh, I'm sorry. $43,500.
Okay.
Sorry. And then I have another motion to authorize the contract for Legacy Park site work. The RFP was sent to Kankakee awarded to Kankakee Valley Construction Company for a cost of $122,711.50. And this contract is for asphalt path repairs, new driveways and garbage enclosures for the area around the new concession stand at Legacy Park. As with the landscaping work above, the township was also involved in the approval of the bid due to their agreement to pay half the expenses in the park. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any action items on the agenda tonight. We've already had our May public safety meeting, so June 14th is our next one at 7 a.m. here in the village boardroom. We have a little motorist alert for downtown Manteno tomorrow. The summer events kick off tomorrow night with the car show on Main Street and an intrinsic arts fire show in the square on 2nd. At the same time, there's a community presentation by the health department in the community center. There will be some street and alley closures during these events. And if the weather is nice, you can count on a lot of kids at the park with the bounce pillow being open. If you're driving in that area, slow down and watch closely for closed roads, pedestrians, and children. And I want to remind everybody that we've got our new Summer in Manteno beautiful display here, and our first thing looks like it's coming up, well, not the first thing, but June 3rd, because we don't have a meeting before that's the shred event here on North Main Street from 11 to 3. So bring your items to shred, and the shredding will take that and get rid of it for you. And that's all I have.
Just a couple other items. I think, too, on Tuesday night or tomorrow night, I think they have it's the first night we have the fire in the square, too. So
Yeah,
not only the car show, the fire in the square, there's a bunch of stuff going on. And then the other thing is the golf cart registration. The 2023 registrations are due by June 1st. And after June 1st, if people haven't registered, then the fee goes up to $50. Again, I've had people say, well, why do you raise it? Well, the reason we raise it is because we found that if there's no incentive to get it done, people just don't do it. If there's no deadline, there's no, they just, don't get it done. If they don't get it done here, it'll eventually, potentially get a warning and get notice, and then they have to pay $50. We would prefer to not collect the $50, but that requires people coming in and getting their renewal on their own. They can do it through the drive-up window at the Village Hall anytime during the day. They can call the police department Saturday or Sunday and have a time to come up there. I know I've also heard, well, I work and I can't get there during the regular time. The police work 24/7. So those arguments are not necessarily, I understand them, but they're available at certain times. You might have to call and make an appointment and have them come up there to meet them, but they are always around. They might be busy, but they can get it done. So please get your golf cart registered or re-registered by June 1st. If not, then you're the one that has decided that you want to pay a little bit higher fee, not us. Thank you, Mr. Dole. Planning and zoning, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two items on the agenda this evening. The first one is ordinance 23-02, which is an ordinance granting a variance from Title IX zoning, Chapter 13, premises signs, Article number 14D, 2 and 4, maximum area and maximum height in the I-1 light industrial zoning for the property located at 3000 North Maple Street, Manteno, Illinois. This variance is for the signage at the new Public Works facility. The size of the building and the distance from I-57 made it necessary to increase the size and height of the signage to proportionally identify the building. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on the matter, and there were no comments from the public. The next item is ordinance 23-03, which is an ordinance granting a variance from Title IX zoning, Chapter 2, Section 9-7B 8D3, rear yard setback for the property known as 1602 Condor Drive, also in Manteno, Illinois. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on May 9th to consider a request from a resident looking to cover his existing patio. While it does encroach slightly into the backyard setback, making the variance necessary, the location of the home is such that the encroachment will not be noticeable to the path area and other neighbors. Any comments on that from anyone?
You had no comments on either hearing at the meeting?
Nope.
Our next Planning and Zoning Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 23rd, 7 a.m. here in the Village Boardroom. And the next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 13th, 6 p.m., also here in the Village Boardroom. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Finance, Mr. Geske.
Thank you, Mayor. The only item I have is payment of bills in the amount of $978,513.97, of which $431.25 are from TIF 1. We've had no bills paid or authorized between board cycle, and our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for June 14th at 7 a.m. right here at the Village Board.
Is that correct? TIF 1, shouldn't that be 3?
I'm sorry?
Shouldn't it be TIF 3? Isn't that what, TIF 1 is already done, isn't it?
I can't hear you.
Oh, I just
No,
know about the TIF number.
Your mic.
Still at TIF 1.
Yeah, we
No, it's-
still have some
yeah.
bills that are being paid out of TIF
Oh.
until the end of
There's
this.
no more
fiscal year.
approvals out of TIF 1.
Okay.
but
Right.
That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. General Government, Mr. Phillips, you have anything tonight?
I have nothing on the agenda, Mayor.
Okay. So the items that we'll be voting on the consent agenda tonight are as follows. Under old business, we have nothing. Under new business, we have ordinance 2301, an ordinance establishing the Kankakee County Enterprise Zone and boundaries there in the village of Manteno as amended. Item number 2 is ordinance 2302, an ordinance granting a variance from Title IX zoning, Chapter 13, premises signs, Article number 14D 2+4, maximum area and maximum height in I-1 light industrial zoning for the property located at 3000 North Maple Street, Manteno, Illinois. Item number 3 is ordinance 2303, an ordinance granting a variance from Title IX zoning, Chapter 2, Section 9-7B-8D3, rear yard setback for the property known as 1602 Condor Drive, Manteno, Illinois. In the awarding of bids, a motion to authorize a contract for Legacy Park Landscaping RFP to Scenic Landscaping for a cost of $43,500. Number 2 is a motion to authorize a contract to Legacy Park Site Work RFP to Kankakee Valley Construction Company, Inc. for a cost of $122,711.50. And item number 3 is a motion to authorize the purchase of a 2022 tail lift ZFG 30C forklift from Santana Equipment Trading Company, North Chicago, for a cost of $34,000 even. And finally, a motion to approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $978,515.97, of which $431.25 are from TIF 1. Is there any items on the consent agenda that need to be voted on individually?
I'd like to request that roll call vote for ordinance 23-01.
Okay. We'll vote on all the rest of them first. And, so we're going to be voting on, under B, we'll be voting on 2, 3, under C, everything, and under D, everything. Under new business, number 1 will be coming off. Anything else? I'd accept the motion to take a single roll call vote on the question of passage of the agenda items as read, minus number 1, ordinance 2301.
I make the motion.
Motion by Phillips,
I'll second.
second by Dole. Roll call.
Phillips,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Geske.
Yes.
Motion carries. Accept the motion to approve by unanimous vote the ordinances, resolutions, motions, and orders contained in the consent agenda as identified, minus number 1, ordinance 2301.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Crockett, second by Martin. Roll call.
Crockett,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Geske,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. I accept the motion to approve ordinance 2301 as read.
So moved.
Motion by Geske,
I'll
Second.
second by Phillips. Roll call.
Geske,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Martin,
No.
Dole,
Yes.
Crockett.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Any items to discuss tonight, Mr. Boyce?
No, I don't. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Martin?
Nothing yet.
Mrs. Dole?
No, it's just exciting to have the summer in Manteno schedule out, and I'm looking forward to all the fun things that are scheduled on here. So,
Yeah, hopefully the weather will cooperate. Now, Jake is now in charge of that.
right.
Mr. Crockett?
No, I just hope I get to hear some of the recordings from the jumping pillow.
I'm hoping we don't, because that means there was a problem. Usually the only time, and just to stipulate that too, there is not somebody that's going to be sitting there monitoring these cameras or monitoring the voice recordings. The only time that they're going to be going back and looking at that or listening to that is when there's an allegation of somebody doing something inappropriate or improper. And that's the same way it is with all the cameras that we have throughout the community. We do not have some central monitoring, location where somebody's sitting 24/7 monitoring cameras. The police department find the cameras invaluable for accidents or all kinds of crime things, solving crimes. Because when something gets reported, they can go back and, and view the street or view the person. And with as many cameras as we currently have now, Ryan can actually follow someone from one part of town to another part of town and identify, different people that are potentially doing something inappropriate. But, rest assured, there is nobody sitting there monitoring people all the time. It's only when an incident is reported and it's necessary to go back and determine what actually happened. And Chief, you've used the video cameras countless times on solving different cases now, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, we've talked at committee meetings. We're continually talking about different locations to put more cameras because they have become such a valuable tool. And even though we post signs around telling everybody that if you're in downtown area, you're probably being monitored at some point in time or being recorded, and that doesn't affect most people, and that's great. It's the ones that are doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Those are the ones that sometimes the recordings can come back to haunt them.
And it's nice the businesses all are on board,
Yeah, Yeah.
We use their Wi-Fi, I mean, it's like a joint venture, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan goes around to a lot of the different businesses that are currently here and new businesses that potentially come to town, and we have a lot of agreements with businesses to put cameras in their areas that they don't have cameras, and again, we're not monitoring them, but if an incident takes place, they give us access. Same thing that we have with all the citizens that put in the Ring cameras. We have no control over the Ring cameras whatsoever, but if they signed a paper and got reimbursed from the village for the Ring camera, then if something happens on their street, we know that they have a camera, and the police can contact them and ask them to look at some of that video. And I mean, that's solved some major incidents that we've had here over the course of the last year and a half. And actually, I thought about putting that on the public safety agenda again for the next committee to see about maybe, it's been a year or so since we had that program, maybe we'd want to reinstitute it for 90 days or 6 months or something to see if we could get more cameras around that people would potentially put up themselves, because it was very successful before. While we are expanding the cameras throughout the community, maybe people would want to expand the cameras they have in their yards too. So, Chris, if you want to put that on the agenda for some discussion too. What it cost us the first time we did it.
It was right around $10,000.
Yeah.
We did it for a year.
Gives you a lot of coverage for that kind of money. So. Mr. Geske.
The only thing is, I saw an email we had a number of middle school kids qualified for state for track and field. Congratulate them for a job well done and representing the community.
Yeah. Is that tournament or the track meet this weekend?
Correct, yeah.
Good. Yeah. Wish them good luck for them. Mr. Phillips.
I agree with Joe. I think that's fantastic.
All right. Have nothing further. I'd accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Crockett. Second by Dole. Roll call.
Crockett?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you for coming, for watching.